Today, I would like to talk about ascension. I don't think I specifically talk about ascension, but I do when we have a discussion, we're always talking about ascension because ascension is having a new awareness of the same environment, having a new awareness of your life, having a new awareness of yourself, having a new understanding of reality that, I am not a person who is big on the terms. I don't go for the terms. I try to bring things back to a level that we can all understand and not to make myself sound more intelligent because I'm using terms. Yes, at times I have to use terms so that we can follow. But we got to be careful with these terms. Ascension is very intimidating. When you say ascension, it's not accessible. It's not accessible to everybody, right? Oh, I'm not ascending. I'm not one of those. Ascension, what is that? A new spirituality? Oh, that's one of those new agers, those alternative theorists, those conspiracy guys. No, that's we are excluding people by these terms, by these fancy ways of presenting information. And this is also how the cabal, they divide people. They categorize them. They say that guy is a conspiracy theorist, and all of a sudden you say, oh, he's a conspiracy. That guy practices ascension. That guy is an atheist. That guy believes in aliens. Oh. So terms, they divide. They separate. They exclude. So today I'm talking about ascension, but we're not talking about it. I'm always talking about ascension. Ascension is a new awareness, an increasing awareness of the things you already thought you knew. Whether it's reality, whether it's environment, whether it's biology, whether it's you, your soul, your spirit, your friends, your purpose. If I discover a new purpose in my life, right? I like to back engineer things. If I discover a new purpose of my life and I change my career and I change my life from what I focus on, guess what? I've gone through ascension. Right? I have gone through ascension without having to understand there is even ascension. If I have a deeper understanding of reality, if I get connected closer to the source, closer to a God, that is by definition an ascension. Even if you don't believe in ascension, you are ascending. The whole world, the whole planet, every person on this planet, except for a few really stupid people, every person on this planet is ascending, will ascend, is in the process of ascending, has ascended. Because that's the nature of, that is the nature of existence. Existence is ascension. Let me give you a very simple but explicit example of ascension. Very explicit, very basic. something called age. You are born, and we can't deny that. If you're watching this video, you were born. You were created by some mechanism of biology. You grow. You mature. Child, kid, teen, adolescent, adult, young adult, adult, middle-aged adult, senior, or as they say in Spanish, señor. So that's called ascension. That's a very basic form of ascension. It's a physical form of ascension. But by the same token, when you get older, you see the world differently. You have different priorities in life. You have different goals at different ages. When you're a teenager, you have a very limited perception of reality. When you become a young adult, you have a new perception of reality. You start to realize that some of the things you did when you were young were stupid. I can't believe I did that. When you get older, when you get middle-aged, you realize, everything I've done is so childish. I can't believe I was like that before. You know what I used to think, right? And that's when you get older, as you get older, you get closer to spirit. You get closer to the creator, the maker. That's called ascension. Age. Age is ascension. And guess what? Everybody ages. Find me someone who doesn't age. Find me someone who doesn't age. So the basis of existence is built on ascension. Without getting into the fancy stuff and the esoterics, the Gnosticism, and the wild theories, we are all based, rooted in the idea of ascension. But we don't call it ascension. We don't associate age with ascension. You say, I'm getting older. I see things differently now. Because we could say you ascended. You've ascended. You've gone through a process of ascension. Now, some people argue, well, Paris, ascension is more of a spiritual thing, a metaphysical thing. When you're a teenager, all you think about is sex. And then when you're an older person, you're not thinking about that anymore. You're thinking about who you are. What's your purpose? What are you going to leave behind? What's your career? What do you stand for? That's connected to spirituality. Who you are as a person. Who am I? Right? You get to a point in your life, in your adulthood, that says, who am I really? You're not thinking about that. This lower vibration, the lower chakra stuff. It's still there, but that's not what is important. What's important is who you are, what you do. Isn't that spirituality? That's your spirit. What am I here for? My soulmate. You're looking for a soulmate. Isn't that spirituality? To find your soulmate, you have to understand yourself. Ascension. It's integrated. Ascension is not just spiritual. Or we can say everything is spiritual. Because when I get older, I see things different. I'm more connected. I love people more. I'm more compassionate. I have a deeper understanding, appreciation of life. When you get ill, when you get sick, you connect to yourself. You find you didn't love yourself enough. You start praying. When you lose a loved one, you start praying. That's spirituality, right? So health. Health is another form of ascension. Disease. Disease is health, and disease, another form of ascension. Anybody here doesn't get sick? Anybody here never had an injury? Life and death, you lose people in your life. Anybody here never lost anybody? Anybody here never been to a funeral? Birth, anybody here who's not seen a birth? Someone get pregnant, someone get married. That is ascension. Married is ascension. You're ascending with your soulmate, to someone you love. It's a spiritual connection with your soulmate. What's my purpose in life? What's my career goal? Isn't that close to your spirit? Isn't that your soul? My soul tells me to do this. I am happy with who I am, what I'm doing in my life. I feel rooted in my job, my career. And when you don't feel rooted, that's where you get sick and you get depressed, right? You're not happy. You're stuck. Same with a bad relationship. I'm not happy in that. This is not my soulmate. This is terrible. This is a tragedy. I got to get out. I can't get out. I don't know how to get out. Isn't that spiritual? It's all spiritual. Age is spiritual. Love is spiritual. Disease is spiritual. When you have an accident, the first thing you do when you have an accident, you pray. You may not do it overtly, but you're still thinking, please let me get better. Right? That's ascension. That's ascension. Everything, we are here to ascend. Now, some of us are more focused on the spiritual aspect, with the deeper meaning of life. We may have some abilities and we connect to people. We understand, we pick up energies and vibration. We're very sensitive. Sometimes, I meet people, even young people, who have a very strong biomagnetic field. I mean, we're talking, I can pick them up from blocks away. And it's scary because anything they pick up, they can pick up, it's like a radar. Anything they pick up that they don't like, they get afraid. And there's going to be stuff you don't like. If your field of awareness, your biomagnetic field is picking up anything, you're bound to pick up stuff you don't like, and you're going to be afraid. And they're going to live in fear because they don't understand, these people, they don't understand what's going on. And it's very difficult to approach strangers and say, you know what? Your bioelectric field, your energy, your aura, who are you? So some people, they have telepathic ability, the clairvoyant ability, they have an empathic ability, and they pick up stuff. And those people, they have a much tougher challenge, right? It's very easy to become overwhelmed and stressed and depressed and fearful. It's very easy to be fearful. But when there's fear, you've got to counter it, right? You cannot allow fear to get into you. That is against ascension. That's repression. And there are people out there who spread fear, who poison. They poison. Don't. Be careful. Watch out. So we're always ascending. Some of us are focused on the spiritual stuff. A lot of my work, if you've been watching my work for all of these years, I tend to focus on the higher spiritual stuff. We talk about incarnation. not everybody wants to talk about incarnation, your incarnation contract, your purpose. We talk about star beings. That's all high-minded stuff. That's not for everybody. So, I talk about a lot of subjects that are more spiritual, more important, more in-depth, and for the more serious person who wants to go beyond getting a career, getting married, and having kids, making money. But I've always been like this. I've always been like this. It's only when I woke up in my late 30s I took it to a new level, and I did a lot of research. It just built on the stuff I'd already started early on. I was studying TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, when I was 20, which is a while ago. I was studying alternative knowledge. I looked at I looked at Ayurveda, acupuncture, nutrition, all that stuff, vitamins, herbology. I studied all that stuff. I didn't take it as a Ascension. I didn't take it as one of those alternative things. I just did. That's what I was interested in. That's how I grew up. That's just how I approach things. It interests me, and I look into it. So when the stuff came up about the star beings, it became an interest, and I looked into it. I didn't realize I'd be labeled. Oh, and there's extraterrestrials, and there's this and that. I didn't think about that. That wasn't my concern. But that's as I ascended. See, it's so stupid. It's kind of stupid to say ascension, because it separates us. Because everything is ascension. Whenever you change your awareness. I changed my awareness. I ascended. When I started to look at the star beings and the cosmic beings, when I looked at the android, that's all ascension. If you look back, you don't see me calling everything ascension. You don't see me saying, I'm trying to ascend you. No, I've increased my awareness. I'm sharing the knowledge. That's it. Happens every day, in every field, in every place in the world, to everybody, to some extent. You go to school. What do you do when you go to school? You ascend. Oh, wait. We call it education. Sorry. Education. It's not ascension. Because it's not spiritual. Well, of course it's spiritual. I am studying something that my soul, in my gut, I want to be. My soul, I want to be this thing. I want to get a degree or diploma. Because that's who I am as a spiritual being. And I get educated. I am ascending. Changing my awareness, change your environment. Everything is ascension. It's just how we interpret it. Now my work now continues on, because I get into things like reality science, that we live in a manufactured reality, a technological world that uses a technology so advanced it looks lifelike. DNA is a technology. These are my views based on my research. DNA is a technology. It's an invention. Someone invented it. And that it's a life creator. It's a tool to create life. It's a technological tool. So we live in this world. And reality science allows me to understand this reality. the this manufactured reality, right? This this digital world we live in, right? This digital world we live in works on certain principles. And one of them has to do with vibration, or two of them, let's say, two of them has to do with vibration and frequency. Frequency and vibration, right? So there's high frequency and there's low frequency. High frequency is associated with high thinking, higher chakras, higher awareness, better health. Low frequency, lower chakras, base thinking, survival, right? And health problems. And that's your fluctuation. In order to ascend, you have to tap into the higher frequency. Now you can just do that temporarily, or you can do that gradually, or you can do it, you can stay there, or you can drop down, right? You can go there and stay there, higher vibration, higher frequency, or you can go there and drop down. Because of the way the world is structured, our frequency is constantly being bombarded. Our vibration is shifting. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of, there's disease, there's stress, there's challenges, all these things, and they knock your vibration up and down. By the same token, as you get older, your frequency shifts naturally. Your frequency, as I was saying, when you're young, you have certain interests, and when you're older, you have different interests. Your frequency, the frequency of your being has shifted. Just like in a car, there's first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear, sixth gear. Well, when you're young, you're in first gear, second gear. Then you get older and you're in third, maybe fourth. And you don't want to go to first and second. You want to stay in third and fourth. You want to stay on the highway. And you get older, you want to go to fifth. So people in sixth and seventh gear, right? They don't want to go down here. That's childish, right? So some people get stuck in their gears. Some people can go 7, 8. Some people have 9, 10th gear. Some people don't have that. Some people only have fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm fourth. I'm at the highest level of my frequency. Yeah, and some people have 9th. And that person is, beyond reach. Oh, you're way out there, man. So we're shifting our frequency. Now, because we live in a manufactured reality, because the way the world is structured, and remember, there are negative forces. When your frequency shifts, let's say because of age, let's say when you turned 19 or 20, all of a sudden you were dealing with depression. And before that, you've never dealt with it. Well, one way is to deal with it medically. My approach is to say, if you're growing, then your vibration shifts and your frequency shifts. Now what's happening is you're tapping into new energies that were previously unattainable. You couldn't interact with those frequencies. But by age is ascension. You get older, now your frequency shifts. Because of your age, your DNA is expanding, your genes are opening, you're triggering your genes, right? They're opening up. That's not necessarily in your control. That's not necessarily because you read some biblical book. It's because your biology, your genetics. Your frequency has changed. Now you're interacting with other frequencies, and some of them are very harsh, and you don't know how to interact with them, right? That could cause that depression. And that's why you have to change the way you approach life. You have to be more mature. Frequency adaptation. By the same token, now you're higher frequency, you're older, and now you're engaging old adults, and their frequency, their energy is different. They're more harsh. Some is very dark. Some is very powerful. There's more energy. Now you're in, so that's also going to take a toll on you, right? That can also lead to stress and depression and confusion, because now you're interacting with all these new energies. Just because I got older. I don't have to meet any star beings. I don't have to have any shamanistic journeys. By age, I'm just saying, just by age, genetics, that happens. And people, they get thrown off, right? Now they're dealing with all kinds of psychological problems. Whereas we're also dealing with frequency issues, vibration, and integration into this new field. You're now at a new wavelength. You're at a new wavelength. Now, for those of us who've gotten older and gone through that, and now are pursuing spiritual things, same thing. When you're shifting your vibration, you're understanding all kind of stuff. Now you're dealing with new energies. It can take psychological effect. It can take health problems, right? You can have all kind of physical ailments as a result of this. You're interacting with new energies. And that if some of you might get attacked, psychic attacks, magical attacks, that will manifest all kinds of illness, right? Because now those people, let's say those magicians, you're on the radar, you're on the blip. You're a blip on the radar. So they want to put you down. So you got to deal with that. Some people deal with that medically, and some people use medicine, and some people use addiction. We all have to find our way. Some people use food. Some people go to church. Everything. There's your way to deal with it, and then you have to live with that consequence.